Ebusuafo ne ahwefo emu bi akobade ba Unidek TV so send the dey kan obodi answer betumi emi subscribe button no so no subscribe na for like na wetumi a share no we comment was ne betumi.
You know, it's your boy Captain to the Planet. I'm here to talk to you about Unidek TV. Please subscribe to Unidek TV. Subscribe.
Honorable Minister for Education, Honorable Haruna Iddrisu, you have the floor.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the statement in thanking His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic, for honoring his respect to the 1992 Constitution, in particular Article 67, by coming to share with this House the state of the nation. And Mr. Speaker, to share what he said, a sad, sorry state of our country, Ghana. A country riddled with debt, a country struggling with unsustainable debt, a country that has introduced in its economics new vocabulary for those now studying economics: haircut, debt exchange, domestic exchange. This was not known to students of economics in the 90s because the economy was so well managed. Mr. Speaker, today you have them who prided themselves that they were superior managers of the economy. Today, public debt is at 741 billion. If we add the road sector debt, 29 billion, electricity, 80 billion, to 71 billion. What is left with the state? What is left with the state? That you don't want President Mahama to describe it as a sad one. It's indeed a sad one. Mr. Speaker, unemployment has increased. Cost of living has increased. The private sector in Ghanaian businesses destroyed. But Mr. Speaker, let me focus on governance before I come back to the economy. Mr. Speaker, when President Mahama first under the Fourth Republic, we have had ministers from 110 to 88 to 93 to 88. He is setting a new benchmark for this country. And Mr. Speaker, the new benchmark is that he will govern this country with 60 ministers. Undeniably, the smallest size of government ever under the Fourth Republic. No president have run this country with 60 ministers. However difficult or good it may be, Mr. Speaker, the lesson is that this country must stand with him to work to reduce the size of government. When you take Article 78, it says that the president shall run the country with such ministers as he may require. Mr. Speaker, it's only important that the Constitutional Review Committee will take up this matter, and this Parliament must stand with the Constitutional Review Committee so that we have a ceiling for the number of ministers that any president in Ghana will want to work with tomorrow. It should not be left to any president to come and say, I'm reverting back to 110, I'm reverting back to 80, I'm reverting back to 90. If John Dramani Mahama can run this republic with 60 ministers, let it be the minimum that every other president tomorrow should run with. He didn't run government with your elephant size of government in 2017. In 2017, you ran government with 110 ministers. That counts. The facilities, the privileges of ministers is cost to the state. So once he cuts the size of government, he is reducing cost to the state and making money available which can support unemployment and others. But Mr. Speaker, as I have indicated, let the Constitutional Review Committee take up this matter. Let Parliament support them so that in reviewing the Constitution, we provide for a minimum of ministers that any president can have tomorrow. So that it is not like 60. President Mahama provided a ceiling of 60. The Constitutional Review should respect that ceiling, and presidents in future should run with that. Then, Mr. Speaker, IMF. They were running. They said superior managers of the economy. What happened to the Fiscal Responsibility Act? It was on suspension even before you exited political power. You said you wanted fiscal prudence. You brought in the Fiscal Responsibility Act with Ken Ofori-Atta as your minister. When we said censure him, you said no. Now that you have lost, you want to blame him for everything. You supported him to mess the country up, mess the economy up, and mess your administration up. So walk in regret and live in regret. When we said that he should be called to order, you overborrowed. And Mr. Speaker, again, let this parliament work for the people of Ghana. Ghana needs to have a ceiling on how much we can borrow. It cannot be at every time as it pleases a finance minister. He walks here, parliament fails in his responsibility, grants him between 2017 and 2021 before COVID, $3.5 billion. Yet the previous NDC administration did just $1 billion. So again, elephant appetite for borrowing. Your government had an elephant appetite for borrowing. At every time you wanted to borrow and you borrowed, you undertook fiscal infrastructure. You said you were building Agenda 111 hospital, 88. At least if 2 or 3 of it was functional, it will make meaningful contribution to maternal health, improve healthcare delivery in Ghana. Your overambitious initiative, you got none completed. You are more interested in winning votes at the December election than caring for the lives of Ghanaians. Mr. Speaker, President Mahama will soon launch the Mahama Cares, where some money will be dedicated and seed money provided to the Mahama Care, which will deal with diseases that are not catered for under the National Health Insurance Fund. Mr. Speaker, then to IMF. You said you won't go to IMF. You finally held a calabash begging the IMF. Yet you were here that no, you must govern with some sincerity. Today we are back to IMF. This is the 17th IMF program of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, we will have to resolve as a country have to deal with it. Mr. Speaker, then President Mahama also promised 24-hour economy. And let me assure members of this House that it is not going to be driven largely by the public sector. It will be a private sector driven initiative of President Mahama. And Mr. Speaker, sooner than later, the Minister for Finance and Attorney General will be in this House to amend the Ghana Investment Promotion Act, the GIPC Act, to provide for adequate strategic incentives to any investor who wants to invest in a 24-hour economy. We need to expand the manufacturing sector of this country. Investors such as Japon Textiles, Akusumbo Textiles, and Palugu Tomato Factory. Any investor who can bring in money and run it for 24-hour economy, President Mahama and this parliament will support him to do that, so that it will generate employment and also contribute to the GDP growth. What this parliament, Mr. Speaker, must insist in future, you came with one district, one factory. You are reminded, do you have one in Wale Wale? Is your watermelon factory functioning well? Ask whether the Nsawam factory is working. But Mr. Speaker, the important thing is that in granting tax exemption and incentives to the private sector, we must ask 3 questions as Parliament. 1, how much are you contributing to employment? 2, what is your contribution to GDP? Before we make those generous grants to them. But Mr. Speaker, if you take from Kumasi, Ashanti up to Wale Wale, you will not find any factory that employs 1,000 or 2,000 people. So for instance, the people in the Brown region, poultry. Government will want to invest in poultry farming. That is their advantage. We should support them to do that. Cashew, we should support them to do that. So the 24-hour economy, government will provide, under the leadership of President Mahama, an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive. Not your government which came and destroyed the Ghanaian private sector. Yes. Go and ask the private sector, whether AGR or Association of Ghana Industries, the harm when they were borrowing at those prohibitive interest rates, it did not allow for that. So, Mr. Speaker, then I come to the energy sector. This country, Mr. Speaker, we need a second gas plant. Beyond Atuabu gas, maybe in Kumasi somewhere in Sunyani, we should be thinking of the establishment of another gas plant so that we reduce the fuel consumption, which is part of the cost of the electricity company of Ghana. Again, it was the NDC, the vision of John Evans Atta Mills at the time, who invested $800 million in getting the Atuabu gas plant constructed. Look at the gain and the benefits that it has done. All this year that you borrowed 741, almost $50 billion. What did you do with that money? What did you do with that money? Then, Mr. Speaker, they failed again to thank President Mahama for introducing ESLA. Those were part of the taxes you described as nuisance taxes. Yet you
Honorable
benefited
member, conclude.
45 billion from the energy sector lady. Mr. Speaker, let me conclude with my sector, education. Mr. Speaker, on education, we remain committed to expanding access to quality education from primary to secondary education. All the abandoned GET Fund projects in your various constituencies, various universities, with an uncapped GET Fund, will receive substantial investment in getting all those uncompleted projects completed. I'll work with the Minister of Finance to uncap GET Fund. We will introduce digital technological hub in the provision of higher education from pre-tertiary level. Mr. Speaker, this year, every public university will get fund support to support 5 PhD students under a new local scholarship secretariat initiative, so that each public university can train Ghanaians under a local scholarship program. Mr. Speaker, we also review curricula. We have difficulties with some Ghanaian languages we need to write, myself and you, Mamprusi and Dagbani. There's no literature on it. We need to work on it. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank His Excellency the President for giving us the state of STEM schools. We will build more. Each region will get a STEM school. Mr. Speaker, I thank you. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity, but don't think that tomorrow there is an election and Ghanaians will forget how you mismanage this economy with a single economy, single debt.
Thank you very much, Honorable Leader.
Abusuafoɔ ne ahwɛfoɔ emu bi akɔbɛde ba Unidek TV so send the day adi kan a wɔbɛde answer betumi emi subscribe button no so no subscribe na for like na wetumi ahyɛ no wegya comment was ne betumi.
You know, it's your boy Captain to the Planet. I'm here to talk to you about Unidek TV. Please subscribe to Unidek TV. Subscribe. If